Made by Commissioner Causey. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Troxler. Is there further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Ayes have it. The motion is adopted. I would mention that I believe we have Commissioner Dobson, Auditor Wood, and Governor Robinson virtually with us today. Okay. We now have our Board of Transportation matters. Henry Fulgham.
Council, today the department has 8 items for your
Can you see if that microphone works up there?
Today, the department has 8 items for your consideration. All of these items have been approved by the Secretary of Transportation and the North Carolina Board of Transportation. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Ms. Fulgham? Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Mr. Causey moves approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Attorney General Stein. Is there further discussion or debate? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fulgham. We'll now have state property matters. Tim Walton.
Morning, Governor, members of the council. I have 32 items for your consideration this morning, including a supplemental item that you got last Friday. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Walton? Do I have a motion for approval? Attorney General moves approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Troxler. Further discussion or debate? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Walton. We'll now have other matters. We'll begin our roundtable. We'll start with Secretary Marshall.
Well, good morning, Governor. Since we were not together last month, I want to report to you that we smashed, absolutely crushed new business creations in 2021. I think you all may be tired of hearing me say this, but this is worth crowing about. It's important for North Carolina. A couple of weeks ago, we released the final number for 2021, and it outpaced every other year on record and have doubled since 2017. Our calendar year of 2021 was a 40% increase over the prior year. If you remember, I told you back in October that on September 9th, we equalized what we had done before and had the balance of the last quarter. So we ended up with about 178,300 new business entities created in North Carolina. We are a hotbed of folks eager and willing to make their own way no matter what the pandemic throws at them. This is the second year in a row that many of our friends and neighbors have shown they have drive and determination to start their own businesses. And that is hopefully a huge boost for our state and local economies. Very clearly, North Carolina is a place where people do want to do business, and we're doing everything we can help to turn their dreams into reality. To meet this historic demand, our staff worked overtime, burned the midnight oil. We've retooled our online portal in order to make business creation more streamlined. These changes have cut down on the error rate of applications coming into us, which means businesses can get going and we don't have to communicate back and wait for other mail or email or what have you. So it has really streamlined the process. What is really news is that it's no signs of slowing down. Here we are 1 month into 2020, and we exceeded what we had done in 1 month into 2022. We exceeded what we did January last year by 500 corporations. So we keep waiting for a plateau to happen, but it hadn't happened yet. Last January, we did 14,000. This January, we did 14,500 new business creations. So you can see what's happening with us in the business economy. I'm proud to say that in spite of this new record, my team was able to process nearly 100% of these creations within 5 days of submission. And 63% of these were 2 days or less. That's the kind of turnaround I would love to be able to keep this agency at. Now, generally in the first quarter of the year, you hear me talking about the avalanche that I see coming down the hill, which is the annual report filings. All of these brand-new creations in the last almost 2 years now have an annual report obligation to report to us this year and every year going forward. So in weather terms, what I'm thinking is it's going to be a cyclone avalanche coming at us. I would encourage everyone to file their annual report. It is due on tax day, April 15th. It is acceptable now because the year's been finished out and people can file those, and we would encourage people to file those annual reports just as soon as they can to get that obligation out of the way, because the week before tax day, it is an avalanche. We got to shovel out. So I would like to, just a historical note, since I've been Secretary of State, there have been 1.7 million new business entities created in North Carolina, which is awesome. And, people are looking for workers, and I can tell you where some of the former workers are. They're doing things themselves.
Thank you, ma'am. Charlie, I just noticed a supplemental matter on my desk. Did we vote on that as part of the package? Oh, we did. Great. Thanks very much. Commissioner Troxel.
Governor, since we now have a certified budget, we are beginning the process of administering disaster relief programs as authorized by the legislature. A $50 million disaster relief program for the damage done by Tropical Storm Fred in the mountains, a devastating flood event. We have a $30 million swine and dairy pandemic relief program that we had a lot of damage to swine and dairy farmers because of the pandemic. So there's a way maybe to help them out some to maintain those industries in North Carolina. We are continuing to try to increase the meat processing pace in North Carolina, especially with smaller and medium-sized slaughter facilities and processors, and we call that the MPEC program, Improved Meat Processing and Efficiency. I think we've seen the shortages of protein in the grocery store during the pandemic in the beginning and now again, but the idea is to increase our efficiency in North Carolina so that farmers may sell direct to the public. We have been hugely successful in the first 3 parts of this program, increasing our processing facility about 40% in the participants in this program. So we're going to do it another round. It'll be 17 more million. This, I think, is vital to the food supply for North Carolinians, so we're proud to be able to do that. And then we have a USDA block grant program, believe it or not, for Florence, Hurricane Florence and Michael. I guess better late than never, but it's taken quite some time to negotiate with USDA to get something that we think will be meaningful in North Carolina. So we are in the process of accepting applications on that. So we're extremely busy, are going to be for this coming year. But we're proud to help out where the help is needed.
Thank you, sir. Treasurer Falwell.
Thank you, Governor. Just 5 items this morning. The first one is that this is ironically National Unclaimed Property Day in the United States. And for all those that are listening, just a reminder for them to go to nccash.com. I'm pleased to report that even during this pandemic that we have broken all records as far as getting money back to their rightful owners. We're also breaking records as far as collecting money that we can ultimately get back to the rightful owners. And I'm obviously reporting this to you, but I'm standing on the shoulders of a lot of hardworking people at the Unclaimed Property Division of North Carolina. Not everybody can work remotely. And a lot of those folks have been tirelessly working in our office. I was pleased to receive a letter 3 weeks ago from an attorney in Chapel Hill, and I know that there are letters like this that come to you as members of the Council of State, but this came from an attorney, 72-year-old attorney preparing to close a trust account. With the help of the Unclaimed Property Division, this effort's about to be completed. thanks to these, Rob, Eric, and Granger, who helped guide me through the process that I was totally unfamiliar with. They showed me immeasurable patience and kindness. In almost 40 years as an attorney in Chapel Hill, I've never been better served by any local, state, or federal agency in my entire life. And my reason for bringing this to you is not to draw attention to me, but to draw attention to the fact that we have so many state employees that someone could probably write a letter about this every day, if people would do so. So just want to draw attention to nccash.com. I was in the process last week of buying some tickets to the Twin City Kiwanis Club all-you-can-eat pancake dinner, which is held once a year. And I was notified last night that that had been canceled. And the reason that should matter to you is that the Kiwanis Club of Winston-Salem had 5 entries at nccash.com. So even though they're not going to be selling pancakes and sausage this year, at least they'll be able to get some unclaimed property from that. Second issue is DOT. Charlie and Alter, I got so many committees. Alter Wood is on the debt affordability. Okay. And so many others. On the debt affordability committee, we just approved a report from the, and that talked about the credit card of North Carolina. And obviously on the general fund, the credit card is definitely going in the right direction. We're on a trend right now to cut the state debt in half over a period of time, and that's been in the oven for a long period of time. So thanks to Charlie through your office and being a part of that committee. The other part of this report is the debt level of the Department of Transportation, and this is the only negative thing I'll say is that the DOT, because of some things that went on the last 4 years, has hit its credit card limit. The great news on DOT, which your DOT secretary and others deserve credit for, the Highway Trust Fund, when we all, as most of us, assumed office in 2016, the Highway Trust Fund had $1.6 billion in it. And then over a period of 2 years, it was eviscerated to less than $150 million. So the kudos this morning, Governor, go to the North Carolina Department of Transportation, who are slowly rebuilding the Highway Trust Fund. So it went from 1.5 billion down to less than 150 million, and now we're approaching back up to $900 million in the Highway Trust Fund. So getting it built back to its original status. In the North State Journal, if those of you who read this, every week they put out the cash and bond proceeds at DOT are now at 2.5 billion. Receipts, disbursements, reserved cash of 125 million, and unreserved cash balance total at the North Carolina DOT right now is nearly $6 billion. And so even though they've sort of maxed out on the credit card, we're working with them on the Build NC bonds as the Secretary has requested. There is some great cash flow news as far as DOT watching the pennies in the paper clips. Secondly, just on COVID testing, I think some of you have probably seen these articles about rapid tests, and I know there's been recent articles about state employees getting rapid tests. I would just ask, Governor, that when there's a shortage of tests, and it looks like from some of these reports that there's a lot of consumption of these tests by folks who may work for the state, that we make sure that we tighten up our policies to make sure that people who aren't vaccinated, who work remotely, aren't required to have a test. I don't know, when tests are so scarce, and not everybody can work remotely. There are people who, like the person I just dropped my car off to get the oil changed around the corner. They cannot change my oil remotely. So I hope that as we look at these policies through OSHR, that if we have a scarcity of tests, that we make sure that they are allocated toward those people that you choose them to be allocated toward, that don't have a choice but to come to work and not work remotely. The last two quick items is we just sent our report to the local government commission to the General Assembly, which is a requirement that went in today. And the local government commission has never been busier. Secretary Marshall's on the commission, Secretary Penny, and of course Auditor Wood and many others. So we continue to have a lot going on at the local government commission. In case I did not show this to you at a previous meeting, we're in the process of dechartering East Laurinburg for about a 10-year record of not producing audits. And then the auditor came in and did her investigation. But when we talk about transparency and governance, you would not believe this if I just told it to you, but now I'm going to show it to you. This is the actual ballot from East Laurinburg from last November. And there's 4 city council slots on this ballot and 1 mayor. And there's only 1 person who signed up. Not for each slot. Just 1 person signed up for 4 city council slots and 1 mayoral slot. And I can now say that the only person who did sign up to run for city council lost. So when we talk about governance, this is sort of what we're dealing with. Secretary Marshall, Auditor Wood, Secretary Penny, and other members of the LGC. The last thing about LGC is that because a lot of our work is being done in eastern and western North Carolina, we're looking for a small opportunity to take advantage of state-owned assets at Western Carolina. And after I poll the LGC members, possibly have an LGC meeting out in the west. As you know, Governor, we have citizens out there who live closer to 5 other state capitals than they do this one. They could literally drive to 5 other state capitals quicker than they can get to this state capital. So I think bringing the LGC out to Western Carolina would be important. And in Terrell County, we have the 4-H camp, which is, I guess, owned or managed by North Carolina State University. And maybe because of all of our issues in eastern North Carolina regarding the LGC, look for an opportunity there. The last thing to share with you is I would ask Governor that you would adjourn this meeting today in honor of Paul Fulton. He retired last month as the Chief Financial Officer of the County of Forsyth. Now, some of you know there's a couple of really high-profile Paul Fultons in Winston-Salem. This is not the Sarah Lee Paul Fulton. This is the Chief Financial Officer. 47 years. A public servant in county finance. 47 years. Who died last week. And thank you, Governor, for signing the Order of the Longleaf Pine that I presented to him on December 16th of last year while he was in hospice. And he has told his family, which has been reported back to me, that it's one of the most significant things that happened to him as a public servant is to receive the Order of the Longleaf Pine from you. So in closing, I'd like for you to consider honoring Paul Fulton after his 47 years of experience and honoring his life and adjourning this meeting in his honor. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Madam Superintendent.
Thank you so much, Governor. Good morning to you, to Lieutenant Governor, and my Council of State colleagues. Your report, Secretary Marshall, where you shared the statistics and information with us about business growth in North Carolina is very timely for my agency and the work that we're doing right now. I hope some of you saw the coverage last week about the Department of Public Instruction and the North Carolina State Chamber's announcement that we are partnering in order to elevate new K-12 workforce goals to our state. So as Commissioner Troxler alluded to, we have to continue to find talent in our state. We've always been a beneficiary of net in-migration. But the truth is that while we have a fairly high school graduation rate of 87%, which by the way is still 87% post-pandemic, which is great news, unfortunately only 31% of our seniors graduate from high school and attain a post-secondary credential of marketplace value by the time they're 24. That is what economists are now calling a mismatch of the education required for the jobs that we have. And I believe that workforce development should be part of the K-12 system, because the purpose of a public education is to prepare students for the post-secondary plans of their choice. And all students deserve to know what opportunities await them after they cross the graduation stage. And right now, we relegate non-college bound students to career and technical education courses. And then we tell all students that they can go to college. The truth is that only 23% of North Carolinians will graduate from high school and complete a 4-year degree within 6 years of finishing high school. That's not very many. So we must provide alternative pathways, and we must be clear with our educators, our counselors, but especially our parents about the opportunities that are available to students who do not want to go to a 4-year residential college immediately after high school. And one of the partnerships that I would like to see expanded and exemplified in our state is one with your office, Governor, and that is the North Carolina Business Education Group, NCBCE, has a partnership with the Department of Public Instruction to allow children to work on IT credentials for free. They can push a button on the NCBCE website and actually attain credentials that they can get a job with, working towards full stack credentialing. And so those kinds of opportunities for our students, unfortunately, the reason this is so important is because not all school districts have the ability to put tech teachers in front of students. And so consequently, we have some school districts that are only able to perhaps offer first aid as a post-secondary credential, while others can offer IT credentials. So that's something that we need to solve for. And I will just close by saying that alignment between K-12 and education and our economy has got to be a priority. Google is already reaching into high schools to get talent. So we're going to continue prioritizing equitable pathways for all students and work on communicating the importance of this and what opportunities are available, especially to school counselors and parents. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Causey.
Thank you, Governor. I yield my time to General Stein. I see he has a lot of notes and a lot to talk about.
My notes are from, Ms. Falwell.
Oh.
Falwell.
Attorney General Stein.
Thank you, Commissioner, Governor. Pleasure to be with everybody in person in the new year. Two things. One is everyone's very much aware of the opioid settlement that we achieved in the middle of last year. $26 billion with the 3 big drug distributors and J&J to hold them accountable for their role in creating this crisis and fueling it. We had a big milestone last month in which all 100 counties have joined the lawsuit and the 45 largest cities. And the significance of that is that it means North Carolina will receive its full share. And that share is $750 million over the next 18 years. The vast majority, not the vast majority of it, a big chunk of it, 40%, over the next 5 to 6 years. So we're front loading it, and that money has to go to attacking the opioid crisis. So there will be people who will get the treatment that they need, or the harm reduction services they need, or the recovery services they need because of this funding. And so really pleased with where we are as a state. If the deal gets finalized, which we expect it to, the first payments will come April 2nd to the state and to all these counties. Another report from last week, we brought what's a fairly innovative lawsuit against a company called Articulate and a guy named Paul Talbot out of Texas. And he runs a phone company. The reason we sued him, he doesn't make the calls, the robocalls that inundate our phones and steal from vulnerable North Carolinians, but he is the gateway through which those calls come into your phone. Because most of these calls are originating abroad, they can't get to your phone unless some phone company accepts all that traffic. And we allege in our complaint that he very much knew what kind of traffic he was carrying. And he has, basically, he turned a blind eye in order to make fractions of a penny off of these billions of phone calls. And so we're taking the action to the phone companies in addition to the robocallers to try to bring peace and quiet to people's phones.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Dobson.
Thank you, Governor. Good to be with you all. Last week, I was able to visit the West Charlotte High School new construction project site. Rogers Builders out of Charlotte and Holt Brothers Construction out of Raleigh have partnered in a joint venture to oversee construction of the high school. The joint venture is a participant in our SHARP award program, which is one of the highest safety honors that DOL can award an employer. If you're not familiar with West Charlotte, it's one of the oldest and most storied high schools in North Carolina. The original campus dates back to 1938, and the school has been home to some of the greatest students and athletes in our state. The existing campus is nearly 70 years old and will be demolished once the new school is ready. Construction is about 75% complete, and the new school will be state-of-the-art and will include an indoor swimming pool, auditorium, and large gymnasium. Congratulations to Rogers and Holt Brothers on their commitment to safety. Very proud and honored for the Department of Labor to work with these two great companies. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, sir. Auditor Wood.
Good morning, Governor and Council of State members. Just a couple of things. First, I want to thank you, Governor, and the Senate, and eventually the House, for the passing of Senate Bill 473. It was needed, and it was a bipartisan effort, and I, again, so appreciative of that. And just to sort of lay out why that was so important, the State Auditor's Office has about 31 cases in the queue that we are required to investigate. And I just want to say that 26 of them are local governments, and the allegations are city officials who are abusing their positions or misusing assets of these local governments. And again, Senate Bill 473 makes it a Class H felony for an elected official or appointed official in a local government to misuse or abuse their position. It's not illegal. It wasn't illegal before Senate Bill 473, but it is now. And so again, I'm very appreciative of the nonpartisan effort to get that bill passed. Secondly, just want to inform all of you, all of my colleagues. I sit on the Council of Internal Audit, and there was legislation that was passed in this last session that will change the reporting of the Council of Internal Audit function to the General Assembly. I can't stress enough that none of us will accomplish what our agencies are supposed to accomplish if we don't assess the risk in our agencies that we might not be able to accomplish it. What could go wrong? And the internal audit function has not been as aggressive as it should. But I think with the new legislation that just came through with the last session, again, I want to thank Senator McGinnis and Senator Woodard, nonpartisan effort to step up the internal audit function in all agencies. Because again, that's where you as agency heads are going to learn where the weaknesses, where the vulnerabilities that you may not accomplish what you're supposed to But again, the reporting function is going to be changing over the next year. Signatures from all of you as to what's going on in your agencies from the internal audit function is going to be required. So be looking for what the council puts out. And then again, you need to look at the legislation that covers the new additions to the Internal Audit Act. Because again, all of us will be affected by what's going to be required moving forward. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, ma'am. Governor Robinson?
I'm sorry I don't have a camera available, but good morning to all of you all. Can you hear me fine?
You can.
Thank you. I want to touch on something that Superintendent Truitt spoke about in our office, an effort that we've had going on. North Carolina needs to bolster its pipeline of skilled workers, particularly as we continue to bounce back from the COVID-19 pandemic. North Carolinians in rural areas of our state are clamoring for opportunities to work and thrive in those regions. Those two needs led our office to work with the General Assembly on an initiative powered by our phenomenal community college system. Now, small businesses of less than 500 employees in high demand fields in our Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties will have access to $2,000 per year plus up to $15 per hour to help onboard, train, and pay new apprentices. Our new apprentices will also have access to $2,500 per year for tuition, books, fees, and the associated cost of their apprenticeships. This money has the opportunity to change a lot of lives in the poorest areas of our state and give businesses the ability to bring on new, highly qualified and trained employees with a passion for their field. Our office is proud to help provide North Carolinians with the support they need to grow and prosper. We will be visiting small businesses and many of the great 58 campuses across North Carolina that are doing the necessary work and being economic drivers in their region. Our vision for North Carolina moving forward is one where the bottom line improves for both employers and employees alike. This new initiative will put money into the hands of hardworking North Carolinians while moving our workforce into the 21st century through cutting-edge training at our impressive community college apprenticeship programs. And while I'm saying that, I also want to send a huge shout out and thank you to all of those who work in our community college systems. They are undervalued a lot of times, but they are doing great work to ensure that North Carolinians have opportunities across the board. So thank you to everybody that was involved in this effort, and we certainly anticipate being a great boon for folks across the state. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, if there is no other business, Treasurer Falwell, I'll let you make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Governor. I'd like to adjourn our meeting today in honor of Paul Fulton, 47-year public servant, Chief Financial Officer of the County of Forsyth, who passed away last week.
Motion is made and seconded by everybody. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.